Hey folks, Rich here at RCINFORMER. Today I have a really sweet unboxing video to show you of the all-new FMS 1500mm P-47 Razorback. Now very similar in size to their 1400, 1450mm series of warplanes, only this airplane at a 1500mm size and running on 6 cells is going to be a monster warbird. Now they built this one very much like the P-40, the 1400mm P-40 Flying Tiger, in that it is super scale, submerged style hinges, nice big ball links. The airplane is extremely scale, and I'll show you that detail in here. You can see the missiles, bombs, drop tanks, all very scale details throughout this thing. And this plane, they spent a lot of time at the factory really assembling this airplane like they did. And this is just a whole nother new level for FMS. Again, right along the lines of their P-40 Flying Tiger that they put out recently. So anyway guys, let's take a look at some of the specs of this thing. It is just a really impressive airplane. Alright guys, as we take a look at the outside of the box, you can see all those scale details, the missiles, bombs, drop tanks, all that stuff. The box is huge. I'm having a hard time maneuvering it, so I'll do my best. Really great detail on this thing guys, all the way around. As you can see here, this thing barely fits inside my viewer, so I'll do my best with it here. Wingspan 1500mm or 59 inches, length 50 inches long. And of course the motor size is a 460 kV, 4258. So that's sure to spin up pretty fast, because remember, this thing's running on 6 cells. So it's going to be a pretty powerful airplane. It's probably going to be fast because it's a Razorback. And the Razorbacks produced a lot less drag than the bubble top canopies did. So this thing is going to be probably, again, pretty quick. 70 amp ESC. There's 6 17-gram digital servos in this, and there's 3 9-gram digital metal gear servos. So all digital metal servos in this thing. Only 6 channels, guys, to fly it, so it's got flaps, retractable gear. We'll check this CG as we fly it and see how it works, and I'll talk to you about that in the flight demo. Prop size is a 14.8 with 4 blades, and again, guys, this thing will run. It'll probably take 4,000 if you have a smaller battery for it, but 6-cell, 5,000, 35C pack. So, guys, this is sure to be quick. Lots of power. And as we take a look here, guys, at what the box here, let me put that box aside. This thing's so huge. Right off the bat, guys, this is going along the lines. Again, it doesn't really fit in my camera so well here in frame. It's a big box that it comes in. Right off the bat, guys, this plane's going to go together fast. You can see all your rods and horns, large ball links already installed. Retracts are already installed in this thing. Just by looking at the wing here, you can see right down here, guys, it's got those beautiful bullet type connectors. You see that make all your wing connections, and you can see your main wing spar here, guys. The main wing spar goes in there, but all those bullet connectors right there make it really easy to install your wing. Looks like there's 2 spars. Lots of detail on this plane, guys. I really can't wait to kind of get this thing out of the box and take a look at it. And with that, guys, let me go ahead and get this thing out of the box. Let me lay everything out, and we'll take a much closer look at everything. Here's the layout of all the parts that came out of the box, minus the instruction manual. Sometimes they don't give me an instruction manual because, again, this is an early sample of the airplane. But it doesn't really need one. This whole thing, guys, pretty much bolts together, with the exception of your little gun detail here, which you put on with some contact cement on the leading edge of your wing, and then your 2 bombs. It looks like those hard points actually glue onto the bottom of the wing right in that channel there. But other than that, the entire thing just bolts together, guys. Now, starting here at the bottom is the fuselage with the outrunner motor, 70 amp speed controller installed, your elevator and rudder servos installed, all your horns and rods, pilot, cockpit detail, everything's in there. Tail wheel retract is in there, and all you have to do really is just plug the big things in. Your 2 main wing panels come complete with your retract installed, retract door, flap and aileron servos and horns and rods and wingtip light all installed, all decals applied, ready to just be plugged in and screwed in place. Your 2 elevator halves right here, horizontal stabilizer, those are complete too. Everything has, again, submerged style hinges, which I'll show you closer as we get to it. Again, your gun detail, missile detail. The missiles come on and off easy, just with a little slide-on latch. Here's your horizontal stabilizer spar, and actually your main wing spars are right along the top. There's 2 big fiberglass ones. Your drop tank, which also attaches on and off just with a little clamping device. There's one on the bottom of the airplane, and that goes on and off real easy. your two bombs, hardware, and then down here your prop and your spinner nut assembly and everything. But overall, guys, really nicely detailed airplane. Now let's take a closer look at some of the individual parts. The first part up to show you guys here is the main fuselage, and with everything installed in it. This thing is really huge. It's kind of hard to get it in the camera, but you can see how really just how big this thing is. And you can see the details on this thing, all the panel lines, the decals. You can see all these panel lines. It's getting, as time goes on, it's getting harder and harder to tell right off the bat that a lot of these are foam airplanes. The finish is just getting better and better with them. Right off the bat, I'm just going to show you the cockpit first. You can see all the detail in there. Comes from the factory like this, folks. It has a interior cockpit zinc chromate color finish and pilot, and it just looks really, really scale in there, all the detail in there for the RAZORBACK canopy. Now, starting at the front here and going back, you can see all that engine detail there. Really nice detail all the way around. Lots of cooling here that gets right down there to where the ESC and the battery compartment is. Nice cooling through there, and there's a lot of exhaust in the back here. I'll show you. Nice fake engine exhaust here, dummy engine exhaust. Looks really nice. Running across the middle here. You can see how these wings plug in. You got your two spar slots here, and of course you got your bullet connectors, which is sweet. This is for your ailerons, flaps, retractable landing gear, and wing lights. No wires to connect. You just put the spars through, plug this wing in, plug the other wing in, and then you have some screws going through the top side to get your wing on, and you're done. It just plugs right in. It's really, really sweet. Also here on the bottom, this is your little slide-on adapter, so you can get your drop tank on and off real easy. So that's pretty indigenous to FMS. You've got some cooling ports here built into the scale detail, helps draw air out. Same underneath here. And as we run along the bottom here, you can see your tail retract, spring-loaded, zinc chromate color finish on the interior doors for scale. And you can see your tail wheel retract has a metal trunnion. And there's your separate tail wheel steering servo V notch, where this thing, when it extends, it plugs into there, and then you have tail wheel steering. So a couple nice features on the tail section of this plane. Nice plastic pockets that FMS is making now, where your elevator can just plug right in. Your spar goes through that hole there and connects the two halves, and then two screws go on. And you've got your pass-through here to join your elevator halves together. But this whole system, the way this is designed, it's very positive, it's very strong. The whole thing just plugs right in real nice. Also, we're looking at super nice ball links. These were initially designed for the P-40 Flying Tiger, and they're using them in a lot of these big airplanes. And of course, you can see how this is center hinged. You can see how nicely that moves around the center point right here. They're scale hinged, guys. You can see all the way down here how this is a submerged style hinge, just like the real airplane. None of the V-notch stuff in this. It's very, very scale, and they have to assemble this at the factory with traditional nylon style hinges running in there. And your rudder is actually not really just one piece. It's actually three, or two pieces, I should say. This is one part of the rudder, and then this section right along here and down here is a separate piece that's glued on. And they build this at the factory and make this center hinged, so it's nice and scale, just like the real airplane. Ball link for your elevator, and as we run along this side, you can see the decals, the paint, and all the details of this thing. It's just really, really slick. They got one screw here, one screw on the other side, and then one underneath for your cowling. And that's how you get your cowling off real easy, with 3 screws to get into your motor if you ever need to access that for anything. Now, getting the canopy off, real simple, pretty traditional FMS with a piece of tape back here that you can just pick up, and you release the magnet in the back. You got your tongue and groove in the front that just fits right in. And you can see your pilot screwed in place so he doesn't come out. And then you have some ventilation holes there to keep that canopy area a little bit cooler, so in the heat it has less of a chance to bubble up. Now, a couple things I noticed with mine, and this could even happen with yours too. The speed controller is actually taped to the side of the fuselage, but in transit this thing popped out and the speed controller became undone. Not a big deal. It's just a matter of taking the cowling and the motor off, sliding this thing through, reconnecting those and taping them again, because they did put some tape on them, and then putting this thing back in there. They went ahead and put Velcro on both sides so you could Velcro and remove this, but that thing just tapes to the side. Now, since we're here looking down in here, you can see they've got a really nice battery tray. Same one they use on the 1400 millimeters, I think. They might have made this a little bit bigger, but this is for your 6-cell pack. And then it's designed to be able to get that battery all the way up front because that extra weight up front is needed. And you can see how it locks in place. See that snap? It positively locks in place to keep your battery down in there and get it all the way forward. You see those motor wires in there just kind of hanging again. Sometimes from transit these things can pop off. See your screw holes, one there, one there, one there, and one there. That's for your wings. So you plug your wings in, your 4 screws go in there. And then you can see everything in here is nicely kind of connected and ready to go. So this is your junction box where everything plugs into. You can see your elevator and your rudder servos in there. And this is probably for your landing gear. This is probably sequencer, probably for the main and tail wheel doors. See, it says gear on it right there. And everything's wired, guys. Everything's ready to just be plugged in. You got lots of space here to put your receiver, and just lots and lots and lots of room for everything to go in there. So anyway, you can see the canopy goes on, tongue and grooves in place, snaps in place. The rare earth magnets hold that in place. And guys, just a fantastic fuselage. They've done a great job on this from FMS. The next part up to show you is the main wing panel. You can see the fit and finish on this thing is spectacular. It's pretty much all built and it's pretty much ready to go the way you see it. I went ahead and put the missile on there and the bomb and put the wing spars in here so I can show you what all this looks like. Again, guys, this is just plug and play. Your 2 fiberglass wing spars, you can see how big these things are. They're pretty tough. They just really slide in. You slide in you slide this into one side, you put the other side in and join it up with these tubes. And then 2 screws go through each side through the fuselage on the inside, and your wing is on there. You can see here your bullet connectors, as we talked about before. Those plug right in as you put this thing in, and it joins up and connects your flap, your aileron, your retractable landing gear, and your wingtip light, and all that stuff is ready to go. You can see how easily these spars just plug right in. They just go in real easy. They come out real easy. In case you want to transport the airplane, it does come apart nicely without any wires at all. So really nice design, nice plastic parts, plastic fittings. You can see here where your retractor servo is installed, and you can access that right through here. So as I flip this thing around, just to show you the details here real quick, you can see how the nice detail of these rocket launchers are, and you can see how these things slide on and off nicely. So you can take those on, take those off easily as you wish. The bombs are a little bit of a different story. Those are actually glued on. Not sure why they did that, but that's just kind of what they did. I just had this kind of sitting in there. So if you want these in place, a little bit of contact cement, and that will glue that bomb in place. And they have a beveled edge, you can see here, so they actually fit on, so they actually hang straight down. But very nice bomb detail, as you can see. Really good detail all around and nicely constructed. Now for the wing itself, the only other thing that you attach to this wing is your gun detail. You can see I just kind of stuck that on. A little bit of contact cement. Probably it's best to use foam tack. They'll probably give you some glue in the box from FMS, but a little bit of contact cement here, a little bit of here for the gun detail, and you can see how nicely that goes on. Aside from that, guys, this wing is finished and ready to go. Servos are installed, retracts installed. You can see here, it's usually not good to move the servo doors this way, but I'm going to do it for you guys, just for demonstration purposes of this video. If I can get my finger on in there, which it's not cooperating, here we go. Very carefully just kind of pulling that open. You can see they painted zinc chromate color paint in there for great scale detail. I'm not sure if there's suspension on the wheels. As I get those out there, I'll be showing you guys that probably in the flight demo. But all the doors, retracts, you can see here, everything's already installed and it's all ready to go. Just very, very nice. Also, they've incorporated the Servo Boxes in here, and actually they thought far enough ahead to actually mold them in black, which is nice. So they sort of disappear in there, and that way you can, if you need to ever access your servo, pull these caps off, unscrew, pull that off, and it's a servo box. Your servo comes in and out without needing to glue or unglue it. So really nice there. You can see everything's installed, guys. Comes this way right out of the box. All the horns, servos, rods, everything's ready to go. Very nice ball links, large size ball links that are also on the P-40 Flying Tiger is what they developed it for. Now, one other detail I want to show you on here is the wingtip light. There's one on each side. I think that constitutes most of the lights on the airplane. It's important to note about this wing, guys, like the P-40 Flying Tiger that they recently came out with. This is not a one-piece molded wing. It's actually 5 pieces of foam. And what you can see, if you see right here, is that this is a separate part right here. Right along here, this is actually a separate part right here, and the flap is a separate part. So normally FMS would mold one wing, but because of the higher quality that they're trying to produce in making things like this submerged style hinge like we saw in the rudder earlier, you can see how that thing hinges around a center point. There's traditional nylon hinges running through here. So in order to do this, they actually have to build this at the factory. So the wing is one piece, the aileron is another. This piece right here is a separate piece to glue those hinges in place, and this is a separate piece to glue the front part of the hinges in place. And then the flap itself is actually, I believe that's a separate piece as well. That may be molded in. It's kind of hard to tell, actually. They're doing such a good job with their panel lines. Let's kind of take a look in there. Oh, that may be part of the whole thing. That may be one piece. So it's actually probably 4 pieces for this whole wing. But normally it's one, whereas now, because of these submerged scale style hinges, and let me move that again for you. You can see how nice that is. The rudder, the elevator, and the ailerons have this. It's traditionally hinged just like the real airplane is around the center point. None of that V-notch stuff. It's just really, really nice. They've gone to great lengths to make this very, very scale, and then the model actually flies a whole lot better. Better airflow over the wing and over the surface like that. But just a phenomenal wing panel, guys, on this P-47. Here's just a quick look at the horizontal stabilizer and elevator halves. Really nicely engineered, guys. You can see how these things come apart. And just as advertised, like the rest of this airplane, you can see here it's got traditional style center hinged elevator. So none of the V-notch stuff in this airplane, guys. They went to great lengths to give this thing scale, submerged style hinges. They hinge around the center point with traditional hinges. Now, again, typically this would be a one-piece mold that would come out of the mold. But in this case, you're looking at a 1, 2, 3, 4-piece elevator altogether, guys, for this half, and 4 pieces for this half. So you can see here where this, where the horizontal stabilizer is one piece with a spar going through it. The elevator is another piece. And then this forward section right here is yet another piece. And then this section here, right here, is another piece. So it's 4 separate pieces. These 2 separate pieces are made the way they're made so they can actually assemble this piece actually at the factory. So 8 total pieces for this elevator to get these things together. And that's how they're able to get this really nice submerged style center hinged elevator. So it's just super scale detail. You can see how nicely there's plastic inserts in here. So this entire elevator system just plugs right into that plastic fitting we looked at. One from each side with the spar in the middle, and you can see how nicely this all goes together. And then they've got this sort of square plug-in, and you can see how nicely engineered that is. And when this thing goes together, it actually goes together really tight, and that's how you want it. So there's really no play between both sides, and you can see how nicely this thing works when it goes together. So just some outstanding engineered parts on this plane. I'm just really liking the high quality of the elevator and all the parts on this plane. The last of the parts to show you guys really is the prop and the spinner. You can see the propeller is all scale, 4 blades. Also has the Hamilton standard decals to apply to them, and this really nice chromed spinner hub. So you put this thing together, and I believe there's 4 screws that hold this whole thing together, and it all bolts together really tightly. And then you have your chromed spinner nut that goes on as well, and that tightens in place. So just really high quality stuff from FMS, really nice. It should be really nice to see this, this big 4-bladed prop on this airplane. The last few parts to show you really is the center drop tank, and you see how it has the traditional FMS style latch, which again, that just fits on the underside of the fuselage right on the bottom there. And then the last thing I have really to show you guys is the hardware package, and you can see it's got a nice antenna you can glue on the back deck right there. Also has a pitot tube that's painted silver that just sticks into the wing. It just kind of stakes in. You can kind of glue that in place. And then these long bolts are your wing bolts, and then you've got these other self-tapping and these screws on here for the elevator. And that pretty much completes the airplane. Aside from the instruction guides, which again, sometimes from the factory, They don't give them to me on these test models, but this airplane will go together so easy. You know, it won't really need the instructions. Anyway, guys, super high quality kit. This is probably the second in line, right behind the P-40 Flying Tiger, of really high-end warbirds from FMS that have the submerged style hinges, ball links, servo boxes. Just really nice retractable gear with sequencing doors and just high detail. Just you get a lot for the money out of the way FMS is making these newer super scale warbirds. Anyway, guys, be checking for this. This again is running on 6 cells. It's going to be fun to fly. I cannot wait to get this out and fly it. Be looking for the flight demo video coming here next, and we'll get that out here soon. Appreciate everybody watching. Thanks for checking out RC Informer, and as always, we'll see you next time.